Hey you beautiful people, how's it going, and welcome to a new video. So in this one I have done a variant of Crouching Tuner's Radar, which is the SST core conversion, and I've done it as a Gladiator just to see how it feels, and yeah, I'm quite happy with the results. I've got around 9.2 million DPS at the moment, with loads of room for improvements. To be honest, my weapon is kind of bad, my gloves ain't too great. I have sunk a bit of currency into this, but there is a budget option for this build which still has around 5 million DPS, or down to 4 if you want to go mega budget. So yeah, I'll talk about those in the video. I'll put the POBs in the description, and I just wanted to give you a bit of a longer showcase for this video. So yeah, I'm going to delete myself, let you watch it, or just skip to the guide. I'll timestamp it, and I'll see you in a moment. Okay guys, so I just want to get this out of the way very quickly. The cost for the build To get started, you will need around 16.6 Exalted Orbs. To get to the level that I'm at, you will need 70 Exalted Orbs, and there is a sort of midway place where you can have 5.2 million DPS for around 28 Exalted Orbs. So I am going to go through my costs real quick and just break it down for you, and then I'll get into the gear after I've done that. So let's get started right away. So the budget version on the right of this is the gear basically that I've stripped down from my build, which still works and should still be absolutely fine. So key things from my build which I've dropped Bottled Faith in a budget version, just because, you know, it's very expensive and it's one of the last things you really want to upgrade, to be honest. I have a helmet with an enchant. The enchant makes my helmet very expensive. You don't need it. Drop the enchant, the helmet becomes about 100C. My shield is synthesized, not needed. Drop the synthesize implicit, becomes about 1x. Crafting them is quite easy. The rings, I have a Frostbite ring, which is obviously quite expensive because it's a Curse Influence ring. And then I have a Synthesize ring as well. You can drop both of these in the budget version because you do not need a Curse ring in the budget version. So yeah, just about 1x per ring as well. Nothing fancy going on there. My armor is a crafted chest in my version, budget version, Lionized Vision. So yeah, I'll probably link this spreadsheet down just so you can have a look at it if you really want to know what you should have and just open it up for yourself. Gems, budget version isn't running any Awakened gems and it isn't running Phantasmal SST. It's just running normal 2120. That will be the only expensive gem in that version. As for the jewels, mostly the same. Just the only thing I've changed is the Corrupted Blood Jewel because I'm just using one that I made very early on, which is quite expensive, but I've just kept it throughout the whole league now, and I'm just using it in every build. So yeah, you can, it's totally not necessary. You can just buy one for like 20C and it should be fine, maybe up to 100C depending on what you want. And then yeah, Hatred Conversion Eye, although it's expensive, it is definitely one of the things you want because it gives you that 100% conversion on your build, so you'll just pretty much perma-freeze everything. If you were to drop this eye for the super budget version, which would be 60-ish conversion, you would have about 4.2 million DPS, and obviously not as safe as my version or the straight budget version, I guess. So yeah, just bear that in mind. Now, I'm going to get onto my gear in a second, guys. Okay guys, so let's jump straight into my gear. I'll start with my chest here. This isn't the traditional Lionized, which many people are using. This is a crafted chest with crit chance, additional curse, and power charge on crit. And this is for a lot of reasons. This gives me a lot of damage against bosses mostly. Not necessarily needed. If you are in the budget version, obviously we use the Lionized Vision. But I opted for this, and you may think you would clear a bit slow with this, so there's an alternative you can do to basically get Pierce again on your SST. So yeah, I'm not running Pierce in my chest, but I am replacing that with my boots. So my boots are giving me +2 additional targets, which is just the tier 1 hunter modifier, and then I'm also using +1 on my helmet, which gives me 3 in total, which is the same as level 15 PS, so it's effectively just the same thing as having a Lionized Vision, really, but, you know, it just takes up a bit more mods on my other gear. So, if you have the Lionized Vision, then you do not need boots with projectiles pierce additional targets. You can just go for some move speed, some int, and some res life, whatever you need on their boots. I've just opted for this one because of the chest change. So yeah, this is very, very smooth, and obviously unaffected by Desecrated Ground is very, very smooth for a max block character because we don't have to worry about that degen. And typically our chaos resistance isn't great, so this is an even bigger bonus. And these boots literally cost me 20C. Insane, aren't they? They're actually really, really good for this build. 20C, what a bargain. So moving on to the helmet, I might as well go there next. Just a Redeemer helmet. Nearby enemies have -9 to cold resistance. Literally nothing special. This helmet just cost me a ton because of the enchant, which isn't even needed, to be honest. You don't feel that much of a difference with it. It feels nice, but yeah, definitely a quality of life just type thing. So if you want to go with the budget version, just drop the enchant and get a similar one like this with nearby enemies have -cold. And then obviously if you're using a crafted chest like I am, then you can also put on the projectiles pierce an additional target, which will help your SST on clearing. But aside from that, yeah, very, very simple stuff, very smooth. My shield is a synthesized one with the recover life when you block implicit. That is why my shield is so expensive. Literally no other reason than that. Very easy to craft these shields because all 3 of the things are just defenses. You just roll with dense fossils, that's literally it, and you'll just get something good eventually. And then you want to open suffix just so you can craft on the int and quality for even more. Obviously you want an ES energy shield, evasion rating energy shield base, because that is what you know, scale and crit multi does for SST. So yeah, go for one of these bases, Sovereign Spike Shield, or I think it's Supreme Spike Shield's the best base for it. So go with Supreme Spike Shield. If you can afford a synthesized one like this will definitely feel very, very nice when you're mapping, because we are max block still, so very tanky. So yeah. Moving on to the amulet, absolute sleeper of an amulet, to be honest. This amulet gives so much DPS. It's comparable to an awakened amulet with fizz damage is extra cold and damage pen. So this also lets us drop Enlighten from the build, saving us a chunk of money. This amulet is like MVP of this. I've used this on quite a few builds that I've tested already. It's such a good amulet. And it also gives you cold damage leech as life, which is very, very nice. And hatred, minus 50 less reservation, as well as level 22 hatred, which is obviously more damage than level 21. So yeah, really, really, really good amulet. 49C for this amulet. Snatch it up while you can. Yeah, big money saver. Moving on to my rings. So for my specific build, I'm using a Frostbite ring over here, as well as it has tier 1 early damage with attacks. And this only cost me 3x, to be honest. I thought this would cost me more, but this is quite cheap. I guess not many people are actually using Frostbite, that's why. So yeah, max life on there, and then crafted all res as well. So a very cool ring. You do not need this on the budget version. This is simply because I have +1 curse on my armor. That's the only reason. If you're on the budget version, you will just use Sniper's Mark on a trigger weapon like this one, which I'll go over in a bit. So yeah, if you're on budget, feel free to just drop this for a life resist steel ring with flat fizz or early damage with attack, stuff like that, and that will be absolutely fine to give you a nice DPS boost as well. And then my other ring is a synthesized onslaught ring, which is obviously quite expensive. Very, very convenient for bossing because it gives you attack speed, move speed, stuff like that. And for mapping, it makes you very quick. If you can pick one of these up, the base is around 13x when I bought this. 10 to 13x, something like that. Let's actually just have a look at that real quick. If I just go with the implicit over here, any ring will do. So there's currently 4. So the 15, 16 right now. I've gone for an 83 one, so around 16x right now. But yeah, a very, very good ring for mapping. And then I just spam this with the Chaos Fossil plus the Pristine Fossil for life and Chaos res. And this is what rolled on like my second try, so I was well happy with that. And I've just stuck with it. Belt, max life, res, and LA damage with attack skills. All you really need, to be honest. About 2x for one of these. If you can get a better one that's got Hunter increased life % on it, that would obviously be a lot more expensive, but it would be way better than mine. Yeah, about 2x. Fill your boots. Inside that, I've got a Jewel with just fizz and cold damage to attacks with tier 1 life and a bit of regen, which is absolutely fine as well. Gloves are the South Swing, previously the Sinistral gloves. These are just Crusader with fizz damage converted to cold, but you don't really need these. You can just buy some Sinistral gloves, and there is the Veiled Craft, which also does the same thing, fizz damage converted to cold. I've just bought these because I plan to elevate and upgrade them later on, potentially. So yeah, these cost me 3x, but you can make a pair of gloves for like 20c, 30c, 40c, however much it would take you. Quite simple stuff. And then finally, the weapon. So we're going for a Harpy Rapier because of the 35-2 global critical strike multiplier implicit, and then you want that to be a Shaper base, eye level 80 at least. And these are very, very easy to make actually. Don't be fooled into buy one for like 5x. If you just get one of these bases, and you get the Jagged Fossils and the Etheric Fossils, and then use the 2-socket Resonators, you will hit a decent one within 20 tries, according to Craftive Exile. So just make sure you just don't buy one, just make one yourself, it's a lot cheaper. And then you want an open suffix for the trigger a socketed spell when you use a skill with the 8-second cooldown. And obviously if you can get the the Ashling version, sorry, with the 4-second cooldown, that's a lot better, but that's absolutely fine for now. And then moving on from that, just onto the flask very, very quickly. I have a life flask with immunity to bleed, corrupted blood, stuff like that. Bottled Faith with reduced charges used, which allows me to get 2 of the charges off during bosses. So I have, 16.4 seconds off Bottled Faith, which is super good for bossing, because this build will not instantly kill bosses at the current DPS that I'm sitting on, but it will beat them down quite easily. Maybe a bit of a fight as you would have saw in the intro, but yeah, it still feels absolutely great for bossing. But predominantly, I find this to be an excellent mapping character, and it should probably be used for mapping more than bossing. Now, after that, I have a Diamond Flask, which is just, a Diamond Flask. Azira's Promise for the LE damage and the Fizz damage as extra Chaos, which is always cool, with increased effect implicit on it. And then a Taste of Hate, again with increased effect and gain Fizz as extra cold, which is a huge DPS boost. So when I pop all my flasks, I do quite a lot of damage. yeah. So I'm going to move on to the skill tree now, guys. Alright guys, so if you want to know how you level the build for this, it's just use Bleed SST and swap it over later. Bleed SST is just like super budget, super cheap to do, super easy to level. So yeah, just do that, swap over later. Will cost you some regrets, but it's absolutely fine. Most of the tree won't be too different, to be honest, because you will be going for block nodes and stuff like that, because this is also a max block character, which makes it a bit more tankier. So, yeah, just things like Solidity, Testado, over here. This down here gives you a lot of damage on this build because it gives crit multi and attack speed. Defiance over this way, but you're going to come more to the right side of the tree once you swap over. Usually for the bleed one, you'll go to the left side. So for the right side, the reason we're coming over here is because we want this node right here, Winter Spirit, and the node before it, which is the weapon called damage node. And this will give you 40% fizz conversion. Then you pair it with your gloves that can get 25%, so that'll be 65. And then once you get a hatred watcher's eye, you have 100%. So that is how you achieve 100% conversion, and that is why the hatred eye is so expensive right now. Yeah, aside from that, not too much to talk about here. You just want the nodes that are in the path of building. You want crit nodes and stuff like that as well. We have a cluster jewel set up down here. This is the only cluster jewel, and it is not expensive at all. This cluster jewel is one exalted orb at the time of recording. Calamitous, Martial Prowess, Prodigious Defense. This gives attack damage while holding a shield, as well as chance to block, which you will need for this build. Calamitous gives you LE damage with attack skills, as well as chance to freeze, shock, ignite, yada yada, and effect of non-damaging ailments. So yeah, that's quite a good one, as well as Martial Prowess, which is just, you know, Martial Prowess is just dope. So yeah, Martial Prowess. And then your medium ones, you want Basics of Pain and Pressure Points, which is the same ones you use on my Flicker build. So yeah, you just get those for extra crit chance. Fill your boots. If you can't afford these, or for whatever reason, you can technically replace them. You will lose a lot of DPS, but you can come up here and take these 4 points here to Primeval Force, which would improve your DPS maybe by around 800k, depending on your gear. That is, with my current gear, that would improve my DPS by that much, so that's quite nice. And if you want to get Avoid Elemental Ailments, you can achieve 100% on this build if you have elevated Avoid Ele Ailment boots, which you would get by taking this wheel over here. This is the Crystal Skin wheel. You would take all 5 points, and this would give you 50% chance to avoid Ele ailments in total. Combined with this wheel over here, up to Fixed Skin gives you 20%, which is 70. And then the elevated avoid Ele ailments on boots can give you, I think it's 30 to 35. I'm not too sure, but I know you can reach 100% with the elevated ones. So just bear that in mind as an potential option as well if you want to achieve that, which is obviously a huge defense mechanism for a gladiator, a max block gladiator, because you won't be ignited or anything like that. Only poison would really be your real weakness, and chaos, which you could again counteract with desecrated ground boots. So yeah, you can make this character very tanky. As for the anointment over here, it's Forces of Nature, which gives you pen and ele damage of attack skills. And over here is where you also want to put your Brutal Restraint. So Brutal Restraint gives you fizz damage as extra cold if you can roll it with the correct seed. I believe it's... No, I don't even know. I don't even know. Mine's crap. So I'll show you mine. It's garbage. I've rolled it loads of times. So Aspect of the Lynx gives me projectile damage over here. Avoid being stunned. Max life, which is cool, I guess. Ele damage, which is fine. And then crit chance on this as well. But yeah, you want fizz damage as extra cold if you roll one of these. Just it will take a while. Just bear that in mind. So yeah, I don't even have one yet. My normal jewels are just attack damage while holding a shield, life gain for each enemy hit, crit multi, global crit multi I should say, and chance to block attack damage on this one. Live crit multi, attack damage, holding a shield, a bit of dex and int on there as well. You just want things similar to this, and they only cost about 20 to 40 C. Yeah, obviously, if you need resists or whatever, feel free to get those on these jewels as well. That'll be fine. Yeah, not too much to talk about other than that. We stick our Seething Fury down here, which is the offhand crit strike chance per 10 ES on shield, as well as the offhand crit multi per 10 ES on shield, which is obviously a very big jewel for this build. And then this is just my CB jewel over here, which I use on every single character since I made this one myself. So yeah, aside from that, POBs in the description. Also, you know, budget POBs are in the description as well. If you need Mana Leech, if you do not use a Line Eyes, take this node here. Gives you 4%. This is all I need to sustain mana. I've also taken a Lyra just just for a bit extra mana regen, but totally not necessary. Also, because I need the res, but I'll cover that a bit later anyway. So I'm going to move on to the gem links now. Oh, actually, one last thing. I haven't got it on my tree, but if you take Iron Reflexes, you may find yourself a bit squishy without Iron Reflexes, because we have 5 fizz damage reduction. If I took this point here, I would have 40, and I would be a lot less squishier. But I've took point blank just for extra damage, being very close to the enemies. But yeah, definitely take Iron Reflex for a lot more defense. Just bear that in mind. I just don't have a point for it right now. So yeah, now I'll move on to the gem links, guys. Okay, guys, so let's get into the gem link, starting with my 6th link. So over here we have Phantasmal SST. Phantasmal is the best in the slot choice for the gem, because you get the crit multi per 100 max ES on shield. So 60 free multi basically for a 300 ES shield, which is insane. Mine is only level 19, so I'm leveling mine up manually. I could buy a Faster's Lens and just get it to 20, but this thing adds insane DPS. This thing actually per level adds 410k DPS to my build. So yeah, it's actually, my build's a lot lower than it should be. And some of those clips in the beginning I did with a level 17 SST, so that just goes to show how insane that is. Killing like the Maven with a level 17 gem seems pretty nutty to me. So Awakened Vicious Proj, 52% more fizz, projectile attack damage. Yep, standard stuff, pretty good. Awakened Cold Pen, obvious reasons, we pen cold. Anomalous Inspiration for the crit chance is very, very good. Reduced mana cost, obviously we get 5% more LE damage per inspiration charge, as well as the crit chance with the Anomalous. Really big boost. A normal one should actually be fine, or even a Divergent one should be fine. Don't worry too much about it. Increased critical damage support, 2120. Very cheap gem, very underrated this league. It's actually really good. 150 to crit multi just to this, so adds a lot of DPS. I did test Hypothermia, but this ended up being more DPS, so I'm using that. Awakened daily damage with attacks, obvious reasons again. So yeah, that's my 6 link setup, pretty standard stuff. Feel free to play around with it if you want to try things, up to you. Moving on to the helmet, this is where I keep my totem. So Phantasmal Ancestral Protector, Phantasmal giving you increased buff effect, which is great. And then I also have Anomalous Blood Rage in here. Molten Shell and Cast when damage taken set up just for, you know, cast when damage things. Now I could play with my setups, to be honest, because over here I've got my Herald of Purity, Precision, and Ice Golem, and a free socket. So really I should put this, and this together. And then I should probably put an Enhance 4. So yeah, I should swap these around a bit. And put an Enhance 4 on these. And then Anomalous Blood Rage would give me 4% chance to gain a Frenzy when I hit an enemy. This would give me a lot more buff effect. And this would also give me a lot more. So I'm actually going to consider doing that change after this video. But yeah, I've got my Herald of Purity, Precision, and an Ice Golem down here. And if I take a look at my mana right now. So I have 4 auras on, and I still have 81 mana without an Enlighten. This is the doing of the Replica High Risk Truth. This is just how good it is. The 50% less reservation on Hatred is actually insane. So I can fit Aspect of the Spider, a Herald of Purity, and a level 11, potentially even higher Precision into this build if I needed accuracy, which to me is pretty nutty. So yeah, that's my aura setup. Let me just move my little face back over here. So my Aspect of the Spider is on my shield as well. It doesn't really matter where it goes, to be honest with you. And in my shield, I have Whirling Blades, Faster Attacks, and Fortify. Now, some people like to always comment saying Shield Charge is better or Leap Slam is better, but it's my preference, and I just love Whirling Blades. Literally, only reason. I don't care what's better. It just looks so cool. So, yeah, it's also very, very quick. And then moving on to my boots over here, we have Unbound Ailments, Vortex, Bone Chill with Culling Strike. So this can cool. Since we use the, what's it called, Point Blank, yep, since we're using Point Blank, we're always going to be in the phase of the enemy to do the most damage, so putting this down increases your DPS by quite a lot. Also the Hydrosphere over here, as you can see, which we'll get to in a minute. But yeah, it also cools as well, so this is a really big DPS increase and very convenient, very easy to use. Just stick it on one key, just press it when you're up in their face, nice and easy. Last setup over here is my trigger, which is my weapon obviously for the trigger. So I've put Life Tap on here so it doesn't cost any mana at all, which is nice. And then we have Sniper's Mark, which is why I'm using a +1 Cursed Chest. And we also have Hydrosphere, which is a pretty big DPS increase with the exposure and whatnot. You can also hit Hydrosphere with the shields, and the shields will bounce to enemies and maps and stuff, so it's very easy to off-screen things. Just wherever you click, that's where Hydrosphere is going to pop up, like as you can see. So yeah, it's very cool. So just in when you're doing bosses, literally just wait underneath them, pop your Vortex, Hydrosphere will pop out, pop your Totem up, pop your Blood Rage, pop your Flash, boom. And, you know, Bob's your uncle, your damage will be nice and smooth. That just about covers the guide for now, guys. If I've missed anything... Oh, no, wait, I have missed something. So, the Pantheons, yes. My Pantheons are always the same for max block, guys. Like, it's preference, but I always use Arakali and Shikari, and then swap to this when there's Burning Ground, as you know. But just use whatever you like, to be honest. And then for the Bandits, I've already said that I use, you know, Alira, but you can also kill all, which would be, you know, absolutely fine for 2 points. I'm just using Alira because of my resistances wouldn't be capped without Alira, and also mana regen and crit multi is also very nice. I could also improve this character. As you can see down here, I have 64 block at the moment. I could craft chance to block on this, as I believe it's a prefix, then that would give me a +7, put me up to 71, and then with the Ascendancy as well. Over here, which I also forgot to cover, so let's just talk about that real quick. So with the Ascendancy, you just go for the max block nodes over here. We don't bleed, so we don't need this, we don't need this. So we use an Arena Challenger, and you may think, but we don't have Flesh and Stone, so how do we use Blood Stance and Sun Stance? Your character is by default in Blood Stance, so whenever you hit a rare or a unique, you'll have a chance to gain a Challenger charge, regardless of whether you're running Flesh and Stone or Blood and Sand, so just bear that in mind. Yeah. So now, I think I've covered everything, guys. If I've missed anything, feel free to let me know. Pop up to me on Discord. I will be happy to help you out. And yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed the build. Take care and goodbye.